Hi guys, in this video I look at creating multiple language subtitles. Is that right? Multi-language subtitle support in a Unity game, which is a follow-on from the previous video, which is linked below in the comments. And yeah, and so we code some things and yeah, get our I don't know what I'm talking about now. It's multiple language support for subtitles in Unity, and it starts after the fade. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out, Unity has, let me bring this up, Unity, okay, Unity has this thing here called system language, which gives us, when you write it out, it just says it's in English or it's in French or whatever it is. It doesn't give us the two-letter country code. And what I want to do is I want to use the two-letter country code because I don't want to have I don't want to have a file name that says .english because that's pointless. I just want it to have, you know, script.en.txt. So the way I want to leverage it is I want to try and figure out how to convert this file, this property here, this system language property, application system language. I want to convert that into a two-letter character code. I did a bit of searching, and I eventually found that there's no real good way to do it, and I don't want to use, like, I could use Windows API calls and that would be easy, but unless there's a better way, I'm going to borrow this guy's code here. So this is Martin. I'm just going to zoom in here just to give you credit here, Martin. Martin Schultz. This is, I don't know what license this is for. So let me just see what he's got in here. Unity 3D. What's he got? README. No, there is no README. So okay. So I guess this is okay to use. I'll just show you Martin's profile page just to give him a little bit of a shout out. He's probably got enough people shouting at him. But anyway, thank you, Martin, for this bit of code here. This is a language helper, so I'm just going to borrow this completely. I think I can. No, I don't want to do that. I just want to copy the text. Let's see if I can just do that. Okay, so I'm going to copy the text there, and I'm just going to create another class called language helper, and I'm going to do that inside here. So I'm going to create this one here, create C# script language helper, and then I'm going to stop talking while I reload the project, because otherwise it screws up. Okay, so I want to go to assets, scripts, and language helper, and I'm just going to remove everything from there. And I'm also going to add, Hungarian is obsolete. Hungarian, wow. How did that get past quality control? Hungarian. There you go, huh? Unity. Okay, and so what I'm going to do as well is I am going to put a link to Martin Schultz's see Martin Schultz. And then we're going to use this because what I want to do is I'm going to default to en to make it lowercase, and then I'm going to do .to_lower. Just for to be safe and sorry. Okay, so that's fine there. This will become apparent why I need that in just a second, but I do need that script there. So hopefully that was kind of clear. What I was doing there is I want to get this get 2-letter ISO code from system language. So it goes and grabs the system language. The system language returns English or French or Afrikaans or Russian or Estonian or whatever language it is. And it's basically, if I go to here, then you'll see that it's just literally just an enum, and you've got Hungarian here and Hungarian here. So obviously Hungarian is not the right thing to use. It should be Hungarian. I don't know who typed that in, but they typed it in wrong. It's not Martin's fault. It's a Unity problem. Right, now that we have that script done, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to convert all these into Russian, and for that I am going to cheat and I'm going to use Google Translate, because, well, it's a little bit easier than trying to figure it out by myself, because my Russian's a bit rusty, being that I know not any Russian. So I'm going to paste this in here, and then I'm going to choose Russian down here, and it's going to tell me what that value is, and then I'm going to copy and paste it across into this new one. So what I've done is I've created this file here called script.txt, which is the one that we used before. I'm going to rename that. I'm going to do file save as, and then instead of script.txt, I'm going to do script.en.txt, because remember that the script that we just added there, that takes the English and then converts it to EN, or Russian and converts it to RU. So our scripts are now going to be script dot and then the 2-letter country code and then .txt, and then so that's why we have our script.ru over here, is that I've copied that already before this video started. So I'm going to take this this value here, and then I'm just going to copy and paste it into into here, and you can see that we now have our Russian text over here. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones. So this one here, and again, for all you Russian speakers out there, clearly this is not the way to do it. This is a terrible way to do it. You need to pay for a translation company to handle this for you. But for the purposes of this video, it's fine. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll show you how we can actually kind of automate this in the next video in this series. So well, actually, this is going to be the last video in the series. Is going to be the one where we take the values from a Google spreadsheet and then we paste it in here. So that's coming. And then the last one here is I detected a life form up ahead. So that is going to be this one here, and then that one there. Okay, so that is all our Russian text there. You notice that the keys have not changed. This is the sort of important part, is that the keys have not changed. So junk pile is still junk pile, big red button is still big red button, and detecting life form is still detecting life form. And that's critically important because we need these keys to be the same thing. So although we're going to be using different files, we're going to be using the same keys in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fire up Unity, and then we'll get started changing the script to incorporate these values. So here is our scene, and then we go, well, let's just sort of recap and show what we've got so far. So inside here we have, I can't see anything of value in this junk pile, big red button, blah, 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 blah. And so all of that works. Now what we want to do is we want to go to language, not language helper, that's a script we just added, but we'll open up that, put it in the solution anyway. Okay, and now we go over to our play voiceover, and then we have our play subtitle, and you see that we have this the script manager get text. So we're going to go to our script manager, and our script manager has all these values in here. Now, the first thing is it looks for the resource files. The resource file is called script, and what we're going to say is we're going to say public string default language. And we're going to default the language to English. So instead of the resource file being the name of the script, we're going to default it to the name of the script .en. So we're going to grab our resource file. So the default language is that, the default language is English, but we also need one more variable, string override language, and then we'll leave that as blank. Okay, so whatever the language override is, we'll choose that. So we want to grab the resource file for the current language. So the way we do that is we use this language helper here. So we have get two-letter ISO code from system language. So we're going to go and say var country code equals language helper dot get two-letter from system language. So that's going to get us our two-letter country code. Now we then have to add that to our resource file. So our resource file is called script. So we want script dot and then whatever that country code is. But we also have an override language here, so that we can, if we want to do some testing. So let's say we want to test the Russian language, we can add that in here. Normally this is going to be blank, of course, because we don't want to override it. But we can figure all that out in just this second here. So we can say if string dot is null or empty, and then it's going to be override language. So it's not null or empty, then we want to use that as our language code. Otherwise we want to use the country code there. So we want to say country code equals override language. Okay, so we're going to get this from the system, and then if it's overridden, then we're going to choose that there. And you can use a ternary operator easily enough. It's just that I wanted to spread it and make it a little bit more explicit what was happening. But yeah, that's essentially what we're doing, is we're just trying to get the default country, the country code for here. So our resource file is actually not that. That's not the file name. The file name is, so we'll call it script file name equals resource file plus full stop, because it's dot whatever it is, plus country code. And then we plug that in there. Now that doesn't quite help us, because sometimes it might be missing or whatever, but we'll come back to that after we've taken a run through here. But this is the sort of the overall algorithm, if you like. So we're grabbing the country code, we then create our script file name from here, and then we load that script into here. So now we run this, and you'll see that we have a script file here. I'm going to go in here and just make sure I don't have that loaded. And I'm going to delete the script, the original script file. So we don't need that anymore, because we already have a copy of it inside script.en, and we have a script.ru. And if we go to our, where is it? It's inside UI, isn't it? Put it inside here. You'll see that our, that's the subtitle, UI manager. Where's the other one? Script manager, there it is there. You can see we're looking at it. So the default language is en, and the override language is that. And that's good enough for us just now, because it's actually going to, let me just reload all of that. It's actually going to pick up the system language anyway, so we should just get subtitles by default. And let's try and do that. There you go. And so we can see that we have our ones there by default. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the override language to RU. So now what's going to happen is it's going to go in here, and instead of getting the country code of EN for my locale, because I'm in English speaking Canada, so I get EN. I'm gonna get the script to load RU, which is the Russian language. So now when I run up and go to the bricks, you see now that we have our Russian language file there, and everything else just works as normal. And you'll see that you'll get the big script, and it does all the everything there. And similarly, when we go through here, you get the detecting life form part. So the voiceover is still in English, but the subtitles at least are in the other language. And you can implement that. You can implement other languages as well very easily. So let's do File, Save As, and we will save that as, let's say we're going to do that as French. So we'll change that to .fr. And then we'll choose French over here. Just do this really quickly. So this is I detect a life form, an advanced, whatever that says there. I'm just going to change this one here. So this is as in France, and I will override this over here. FR, and then we will default it to something. So we go to life form. It comes up and says it in French there. So you can see this is quite powerful. Now, what I was going to bring up was after the recompile, if you're building these things and this file doesn't exist, I think this is going to be null. So let's choose DE. So we don't have a German one. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I think this comes back as being null, but let's just check. Let's attach it to Unity. Well, that's kind of good in a way. So missing for junk file, but it says null reference down here. So it says null reference in here at that particular line, line 35. So I'm guessing this is going to be null. So this happens on awake. So let us, let's try and see what we get from here. So on awake. Okay, so text asset is null, which is what I thought it was going to be. So that's a bit of an issue. So what we can do is we can use this default language to then load that in. So let's split this up into a different function, because this is starting to get a bit crowded in here, because all we should do is we should be able to get the voiceover text from there. So I'm going to create another function here. So this is going to be private string load script file, and load script file is going to take all of this out of here and paste it in there, and over here I'm going to say var JSON equals load script file, and I'm going to paste JSON into there. So now you can see that this function here is now very, very short, and that's good, because now we look at it and go, okay, what's the problem in here? Oh, the problem's in the for each loop, for example, or the problem is this line here. This line always returns null from here because JSON's corrupt or whatever. It's very easy to debug it because now we can see where those values are. So our load script file, we load in the text asset. If the text asset is null, then we want to load it again. Now we could do this line again, but I'm going to try and be clever, because I was thinking maybe we could use a while loop, and this seems maybe a bit overkill, but let's try it anyway and see what we get. So I'm going to say let's create a variable here, and the variable is going to be a string array, and it's going to be the country code and then the default country code. So I'm going to say let's call them codes equals new string, and then we want to take this country code here, and we want to take the default country code here. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to go through this list. I mean, it's just two elements, and we want to say, okay, if this country code does exist, then this is going to be not null, and then we want to return that value. Otherwise, we want to move on to the next thing. So I want to say for each, code in codes, we do this again. So instead of codes, country code, we do this. And then we say if text asset is not equal to null, return text asset dot text. Return empty string, because we don't want it to be, we don't want a null reference exception there. Or maybe we want to, no, let's just return an empty string. Because this should always return something, because we should always have a default language, but just in case somebody hasn't set up, we can handle that inside our load here. Actually, what we can do is we can do, let's be even cleverer. So this is probably gonna, if this default language doesn't exist, let's show that happens. Okay, so if we don't have German, for example, what will happen is you will default to the English language one. So you see that we don't have a null down here, and you can see that we now have our English subtitles, but let's maybe have that. There's a few things we can do here, and I'm kind of thinking about, you know, future enhancements and things, but let's leave it at that just now, rather than sort of complicating this video, because we're at 17 minutes just now, and I wanted to keep this under 20 minutes. Yeah, let's leave it at that. So anyway, so yeah, so overriding the language is dead easy. All you do is just do RU, and you're good to go. The only thing I would mention though is this font here. Make sure that it has Cyrillic characters in it. The default font, which is Arial, does have Cyrillic characters. So if you're doing Russian or Polish or sort of Eastern European languages that have you know, characters like this, then make sure your font has that ability, or has those characters built into them. But other than that, yeah, that is all you need. We just want to have our scripts down here, our English, French, Russian, whatever language we want, and then inside our script manager, all we did was we changed a couple of things in here. We removed the sort of load from this part over here and put it inside a new method. We went and figured out what country code we were going to be using. So the system language one, as I explained at the first half of this video, it takes the system language, which is English, and then gets the 2-letter country code, which is what this says here, and that's from Martin Schultz. And then from there, I use this for loop, which is probably, again, overkill, but there's only 2 items, so it's not too bad. I just didn't want to repeat this again, because I thought that was a bit, you know, what if we have 4 languages, 5 languages? So that's why I decided to use that for each loop there. If anybody's got a better way, please suggest in the comments below. Otherwise, we're going to return just an empty string to the caller. And that's all we changed. That's it. We changed, like, you know, we didn't change any other scripts. We just added our language helper and changed a couple of things inside Script Manager, and that gave us multiple languages in subtitles. That's it. So there you go, multiple languages in subtitles. Pretty cool, huh? And I mean, you know, you can put it in separate folders or separate files. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how we can actually pull that down from a Google spreadsheet. So if you wanted to send this off to a translation company, you would have your, like, I'll show you how you can put the English one down the left-hand columns and then the other languages down the other columns, and then we can pull those values in and we can generate these JSON files on the fly. We'll write a little importer code to do that. But that's next time. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and the other videos. I have many more. I have over 200 videos that you may find of interest, from, you know, networking to building GTA and Unity with real world data. It's all there in the videos around here. If you haven't already, please subscribe. There's a little red button up there. Yeah, up there somewhere, or maybe it's down there. I can't remember where it is now. And you need to hit that and then hit the notification bell and then click on the confirm button and then click on OK, because there's a whole big mess of problems with the algorithm. If you don't do that, then you don't get notifications. I don't understand the problem myself. I just go to subscriptions anyway. I don't go to the home page. The home page for me has never worked. It's always gives me like weird videos, like, you know, top 10 dishwashers you can't do without, or, you know, those kind of videos. If you like this video, however, along with top 10 dishwashers that you can't do without, then please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. If you want to leave a comment below as to why you gave it a thumbs down, that would be great. Just leave a comment below, and I hope to see you in the next video. So until next time, bye bye.